Alright y'all, I'm starting on the next tracking video, and I've got some tracks here I want to show you up close, some that I've found in the field. I like kind of mixing these up a little and showing you, actually finding the tracks, showing you what the tracks look like, and going through a lot of different things of just sharpening our skills here, learning. So I got some actual pretty good tracks here that I'm going to show you. And then also I'm going to talk about a few other things as well. Alright, so I'm going to show some of this here. There's some coyote tracks here. There's also some young coyote tracks in this too as well. Looks like pups that are with the adults. There's also some raccoon tracks here. And then there's a mixture of tracks where both had stepped in. So I just want to show you some of that. And then we'll get to a pretty nice deer track and some hog tracks, and kind of show you a little bit of how they actually look out here in the field. I slowed this down a little, and then so I cut out the audio. So these first ones right here are coyote. This is coyote and raccoon both mixed together. These are raccoon. So these are pretty good tracks here, so I wanted to show them to you. This is a pretty good coyote track here. And then I'm going to show you this deer track, because this fools a lot of people. A lot of people would think this is a hog. So here's the deer track. So this is how it can get confusing with hog tracks and deer tracks, because they'll look a lot alike out here in the field. Here's a pretty fresh coyote track. So even though you don't see the claw marks too good, you can barely see the claw marks, but you have the two toes up front and the two coming back, and then the big pad. Where a cat track is the toes come more out like this, more outwards, more lined up more, and then the pad's a little bigger. So that's pretty fresh coyote track. Probably done last night. Yeah, more right here. That's coyote. Walk through here. Some raccoon tracks. So again, I slowed this down a little, so I cut out the audio. So right here, this is a pretty good hog track. This shows you a pretty good example of the hogs. Alright, so one more thing here I'd like to show you too on these tracks, using the comparisons like this. So the coyote, the rear toes here, the two outside toes of the coyote, they actually come up into the front toes, lining up. They actually line up with the front toes. So if we use that for a reference, they're coming up into the front toes, the two middle toes there. Same thing there. They're coming up into it. The dog the same way. And the dog's actually coming up further into the two front toes there. And then you have the fox. The fox pretty much lines up with the back of the front toes. So this one already has a line here. This one's already got a line in it showing it. So there's things like that too you can learn to look for. And then with the toes are a little more spread out here. They're not like the fox and the coyote, a little more oval shaped. The coyote is a little more oval shaped actually than the fox is. And one thing you got to watch for too is in areas where people can walk their dogs. Dogs can have pretty good variety there of footprints from all the different dogs that we have. But like I was saying, the toes are a little more spread out. You don't see the claws in the cat. The pad are different on the cat than they are the fox, the dog, coyote, the wolf. So I just wanted to show this about the toes lining up. The two outside toes line up with the rear toes, the inside toes of the fox. So these are actually considered the inside and these are the outside. So with the dog and the coyote, the two outside toes will come up past into lining up into the two front toes there. Alright y'all, I want to put this in my next tracking video. So what I was doing here, we have chickens out here that just roam around the neighborhood. So a lot of my videos, a lot of times you can hear the roosters crowing. But I was out here watching the helicopter, the sheriff's helicopter flying around. So they must be chasing somebody. But I've heard the chickens back here before in that tree. And I'm standing here watching the helicopter, and then I was seeing a lot of movement in the tree. And then I remembered that the chickens are roosting in these trees. So there you can see one moving around. So I keep seeing a bunch of them moving around there. So that's part of tracking is I've been learning about all the different animals. And the chickens, I was learning that the chickens, they cannot see at night. They cannot see at night at all. So the chickens, like I said, they cannot see at night at all. They're blind at night. So they get up in the trees before dark and roost and try to stay safe up in the trees. And also I've learned that the chickens can see ultraviolet light. We cannot see ultraviolet, but they can. And I've learned there's a few other animals too that can see ultraviolet. The white-tailed deer being one of them. The white-tailed deer can see ultraviolet, where we can't. Alright, so I just wanted to add that little bit about the chickens into that. About learning about their eyesight. Alright, so yesterday evening I was filming where the chickens were roosting over there in the tree. And they're coming down now, they're flying down out of the tree now. So you can hear them, they're all over. So they're getting more and more populated. They're just neighborhood chickens. So I've seen a couple of them fly down out of the tree. You might be able to see them on the camera here, on the footage. Flew down out of the tree right there behind the house. Anyway, I'll just add this in too, as far as the other part of the tracking where I was talking about their eyesight. There went another one flying down. Because the chickens, they cannot see at all at night. They're helpless at night. So they get up in the trees and roost. Try to get where nothing can get to them. Alright, so we're at Walmart right now. And I was looking to see what they had. If they had the laundry detergent that takes the UV out of the clothes. All they have here is the like the dead downwind that takes the scent away. So all this takes the scent away. But none of these actually take the UV out of your clothes. So this is all Walmart stuff right now in the hunting section. So I'm gonna look online for it. Okay, here's something I was looking up. I looked at Walmart. I looked at Walmart for this in the hunting section. So I don't remember seeing these in quite a while. But I remember in the past when I used to hunt a lot, I remember seeing these being sold at Walmart. And I never tried using any of them. But I'm looking online here. The UV killer. So these claim that they actually kill the UV in your clothing so that it's not, the animals don't see it. Alright, so the white-tailed deer can see UV, and now I know the chickens can see it, as well as like turkeys and ducks. They can see UV light, they can see the UV. So this is part of the light spectrum. It's just outside the rainbow color, so we can't see it. Alright, and so like I was saying, some of the animals can see it. And this actually, when I'm looking this up, this has some videos here with it, where some of these guys, a couple of them are hunters, and they're trying the UV killer to make sure it works, and looking at it with the black light. So from what these guys are finding out in every one of these videos, is that the UV killer does not work. It works while it's wet, from what they're finding out and what they're showing. It works while it's wet. Alright, so a lot of the laundry detergents, they actually have the UV brighteners. They have brighteners in the laundry detergent. So like this one guy here, he tried several different pieces of camouflage clothing, and he put several different applications of the UV killer on here, and it didn't work. It's not really working. When it's wet, it does work, but then when it's dries, it's not working. And he put several coats on it. So here's another one too. He tried it. He tried a brand of it, and he was trying it to see if it kills the UV light, and he's also trying it to see how if it'll help with the infrared, not being able to be seen by infrared if you have this on. And he tried several different pieces of clothing as well, and he found that when you put it on while it's wet, it works, but once it dries, he says it's not working. And he shows here too, he shows going through and applying it, and he shows looking at it with the infrared camera too, and it not making a difference. But too, he also explained that the infrared and the UV are both at the different ends of the light spectrum from what we can actually see. So I wanted to also show here, he actually has a list that he shows here towards the end. Alright, so here's one of his tests where he's got a piece of paper that has UV brightener in the paper. So when he sprays the paper, you can see it kills the UV, but then when it dries, you can see it again. The UV stands back out. And he's also this hat that he's spraying. When he sprays it on the hat while it's wet, it works, and then when it dries, it's not working. But I want to show he actually has a list here. He actually has a list here of the laundry detergents that have the brighteners in it. So if you're going to be out doing a lot of photography in the wild, filming or photography or hunting or anything like that, you may want to stay away from these different laundry detergents. I'll put the link in here to this video as well. And then he's got like a real short list here of the ones that don't have the brighteners in it. But like I say, I never did use this. I never did try any of this when I was hunting. And I had turkeys walking right up to me, right up around me, while I was sitting there really still, camouflaged and really still, sitting up against the oak tree. And I had turkeys walking right up by me and never even realized what it was. I've gotten close to deer when I was out hunting and stalking, and I've gotten up really close to deer and them not seeing me. So even though they have these, they make these the UV killers for your clothing. According to what I'm finding here, they're not working. They don't really work. And like I said, this is doing this research too. I'm finding that the white-tailed deer can see UV light, the wild hogs can see the UV, and a lot of the birds, like the turkeys, the ducks, a lot of them can see the UV light. And I know we don't run across chickens out there in the woods, but I found that they can see the UV light. I know the owls can see the infrared light. The game cameras are modeled after the owl's eyesight, seeing the infrared. Oh, the hunters, the military night vision devices too are modeled after the owls, being able to see the infrared. Alright, so I have another one here I'll show you too. So he's got a piece of paper here that has the brightener in it. And he takes his finger here and puts some of this UV killer on the paper. So this is the dead downwind UV killer, and as you can see here, it doesn't do anything at all. Not even while it's wet. It's not killing the UV. It doesn't do anything. Alright, and then he's got a different type. Alright, so this is a different type of UV killer, different brand name, I mean. Not a different type, but a different brand name. And then when he does it with his finger as well. Now this one, while it's wet, now this is while it's wet. So you can see it kills the UV while it's wet. But what about when it dries? He doesn't show it dry. He doesn't let it dry and then show if it's still killing it. Alright, so I just wanted to show these. I'll add these into the link as well. I like adding all my resources and stuff like this in as well. Alright, so this is 3 videos here. I'll add the links to these in. So as we're learning here about the animals, we're learning about UV. Now I found this UV killer right here too on Amazon. Now this one is actually a let's see this here. This is it talks about the deer, the hogs, the ducks. They can see the UV. So this one actually is a waterproofing spray as well with the UV. So I'm wondering if that might help kill the UV light, with it also being a waterproofing spray. That might make it work better. But like I said, I haven't tried any of these. But I do like to talk about the some of the different animals here and out in the woods and what they see, so you get a better understanding of the animals out here. When you're out here tracking, you got a better understanding of them. Okay, so while I'm doing this video, I got my UV light out and I changed the batteries in it. So let's take a look at some stuff here. Alright, so that's just printer paper. So you can see how the UV light shines on it. Alright, so I got some of my clothes and my gear that I normally wear, including my chest pack. So looking at my chest pack here real close, I'm seeing little tiny dots of UV. I'm seeing little tiny dots. Okay, I just wanted to wipe it off, make sure there wasn't any kind of dust on it. So I'm seeing little tiny dots there of UV in the light. Alright, so what I'm going to do too, I think a lot of this is not going to show any kind of UV. The whites in this might. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to shut the light off and then check it with this. And even my tripods I use here. See that camouflage rag? It doesn't show any kind of UV light. And I wanted to check because I wrapped these with the tape. I wrapped my tripods with the tape, camouflage tape. So let's look at this with the light off. And also the laundry detergent I use, it does say it has brighteners in it. I got that out to look at it. It does say it has brighteners. Alright, so I'm going to turn the light off so it'll be pretty dark, and then we'll be able to see better with the UV light. See how it looks. Okay. So now let's see how this looks. That's the paper. The tape, the tripods. So that camouflage tape seems to be pretty good. So you can see the paper shines, shows up the brightness. So I'm still seeing the little tiny specks showing up the UV on that. Alright, so I'm going to spread these clothes out and we'll look at them. Alright, so I got the clothes all laid out here. So these are mostly all the clothes you see me wearing out in the woods in my videos. So let's throw that in there too. Alright, I'm going to turn the light off and then we'll look at it with the UV light. Alright, this shirt right here, that long sleeve shirt, is showing up the little UV specks just like the chest bag did. So that one's showing up the UV. That one might have a little in it. For the most part, those don't. So the whites in that stand out. So that hat looks like it does show a little bit of UV. The chest bag did, it does. So let's look at these shirts. That one's mainly just the whites standing out. And this cut off sleeve shirt is not showing anything. That shirt's showing up dusty. I'm gonna have to wash this shirt. Yeah, that's showing UV. It makes it look real dusty. I have worn it a couple times lately, and it does need to be put in the wash. But that's not, that can't be all dust. That's showing up UV. So that's that maroon color shirt that I'm wearing. It's showing up the UV. That long sleeve shirt's showing up the UV. Those military pants do a little. The hat does. Alright, so just a little experiment here I'm doing. So let's turn the light back on. I don't know how good this will turn out on the video, on the camera and the light, but I can still see it in the maroon color shirt. I see it in the long sleeve shirt. This is only making the white parts of that shirt stand out. Yeah, I see the UV in the hat. I see it in the bag. Now when I was hunting a lot, I did wash my clothes in Sport Wash, which didn't have the brighteners. So I think I'm going to go back to that now too. With all my stuff I wear in the woods here, I'm going to start washing it with a Sport Wash that doesn't have the brighteners in it. Alright, so this little experiment, it shows up. Some of the clothes I'm wearing in the woods does have the brightener in it. The UV brightener. Alright, y'all, I want to talk about a couple of things here. So first off, while I was showing the video, I was showing where the one guy was using two different kinds of UV killers, and the first one he was using did not do anything to the paper. Alright, so let me say that after a lot of research into that, the first one he was using was the Dead Downwind laundry detergent that doesn't claim it kills the UV. It just doesn't have the UV brighteners in the laundry detergent. So that first one he was using is not even a UV killer. There was only one company. So actually I found two. I found there's only two companies that make the UV killer. So the main one, they make a sport wash that doesn't have the ATSCO. It's called ATSCO. They make a sport wash that doesn't have the UV brighteners in it for washing your hunting clothes. And they also make a UV killer. Alright, so I'm going to try the UV killer myself and see if once it's applied, see if it kills the UV. And also I found a second UV killer that is by a different company, and I showed that in here too. It's it also helps waterproof your clothing, so that might help make it a better to be better. So once it dries. Alright, so I just wanted to get that out there, because the dead downwind, they just make the laundry detergent for your hunting clothes that don't have the UV brighteners in it. They don't claim that that's a UV killer. Alright. Alright, so a few other things here. I've been learning a lot doing this video. I've been doing a lot of research into that, and I've been doing a lot of I already knew a lot about the animals, the different animals and their eyesights, but I've been learning a lot more too about that. So most all the animals have the cones in their eyes where they see the UV light, and the main thing too though is just movement. When you're out there, if you're sitting real still and you're not moving, you're going to have a better chance of being able to film wildlife, whatever you're doing out there, hunting, filming. As long as you're not moving, you're sitting very still. The deer and the wild turkeys mainly, they see movement really good with their eyes, so that's the main thing. This the UV killer, the company that's making the UV killer, they show this picture here, so I'll share it on here now too, where you see the hunter sitting there glowing blue because his clothes have the UV brighteners in them. I don't think they really see that. I don't think the deer really see like that. And it's only in the early morning and in the evening, late evening, when they see the UV the most. So that's the only times they really see the UV. And I don't believe they see that much of the UV where it makes us look like we're glowing blue. I don't believe that either. I've had turkeys, like I say, walk up around close to me. Actually, I had a bow and arrow in my one hand, and I was actually filming with back then it was the larger video camera, the larger ones that they made, and I filmed the hen turkey walking right by my feet while I was sitting down at this oak tree, and you could see my arrow on my bow. Sitting there with my bow, you could see the tip of my arrow, and you could see the turkey walk by it. So I don't believe they see us as like a blue glow, and I don't think a lot of the hunting outfits, the hunting clothes really have that much of a UV brightener in them anyway. Although I did see a little bit in some of mine that I was showing with the UV flashlight. I did see a little in some of it, but it's not like a bright glow. It's only like little specks of light. It's not really bright. So a lot of the animals see the UV light. Their eyes. I'm gonna do another shorter video on the light spectrum, and talk about the light spectrum a little more, and explain it, and how we don't see the UV. We only see the rainbow colors. Where the animals, a lot of them see less of the reds, and they see more to the blues and the greens and the UV light. So I'll do a separate video on that too, explaining more into that. So what I did want to explain was I'd let the sirens go by again. Alright, so another thing too I wanted to explain is a lot of your newer hunting clothing that has all these leaves and branches and all these details of the woods that are made to help you disappear when you're standing there beside the trees and brush and stuff like that. This is made to help you disappear. It helps you to disappear to human eyes. Deer don't see all the detail like that. The deer don't see all that detail. They actually make special clothing for deer hunting that is actually a little bit different than these. It's still camouflage and it's camouflage patterns, but it's different than these. It's little small micro parts in it, and then bigger patterns in it too, all mixed together. And it's more for the deer vision, because the deer don't see all these little leaves and branches and stuff in the like we were out here in the woods, so they don't see all that. Now that'll help with turkey hunting, stuff like that. That'll help you with turkey hunting and some of the other animals. But the main thing is getting out there and being real still, no matter what you're wearing. But you don't want to wear like blue and yellow. You don't want to wear those colors out there around the animals. Animals will see that easier. And then the blues are going more towards the UV too as well, so they'll see those kind of colors easier. And then again, the movement, try not to be moving very much. Like back through some of my hunting videos where I was turkey hunting, I showed me and Lynette sitting there turkey hunting. If you're sitting there really still, you blend in a lot better and the animals don't see you. So I wanted to explain that. The UV light, I got this at Harbor Freight. It's a Quantum brand. This is a UV light. So it's got like a black light that shows UV. So it's not a white light. So this actually helps with when you're out there in the woods too, looking at something, to see hairs, to see stains, things like that. That law enforcement can use these too when they're looking at forensic stuff, looking for evidence. So this is for more than just like looking to see if your clothes have the UV brighteners in them. Alright, so that's what I wanted to explain a lot more about the animal's eyesight. So the deer, like I said, the deer, the turkeys, the crows, the canines, our dogs, the coyotes, the wolves, all those animals see the UV light. They can see into the UV spectrum where we don't. That helps them hunting in the early mornings and the late evenings. It helps them hunting at night. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. The wild hogs, their eyesight's not really good, but they can smell really good. Hogs, they can smell stuff like 3 feet underground. That's why you see them rooting up so much stuff. They're rooting up to get the bugs and roots that they can smell down in the ground. And wild hogs, if they're coming by you, if you stand really still next to a tree or next to some brush and stand really still, they won't see you. They'll go right on by you. They're going to see you moving. If you're moving, they're going to see you moving. They're going to see you that way. Or if you're standing out in the open. If you're standing out in the open, they'll see you. But they're not just going to, they'll see a human standing there, like in the human form like we are. More like a deer would see you more like that. A turkey would see you more like that. But especially if you're moving, they're going to see you. So the turkeys are kind of like the chickens that I was explaining. They can't see at night, so they get up and roost in the trees. And then once it's starting to get daylight, they'll come down out of the trees and go to feeding and mating and everything. So the turkeys, they see movement really, really good. Turkey hunters have to really camouflage good. They have to get really still, be real still. Even have a hunting blind in front of them to cover any movement that they do. A lot of times when they're calling the turkeys in, they'll have turkeys to hunters likes to have a call that you put in your mouth, so you're not out here moving your hands doing turkey calls. And then also you can have a hunting blind around you that's going to help hide your movement, keep you camouflaged and help hide your movement. Some of the eyesights on animals like that, the turkeys see movement really, really good. If they see your hands moving just a little, let's see you raise your shotgun up a little, they're going to spook and take off. The deer, their eyes, they can see 310 degrees. 310 degrees, they can see like a panoramic view, and they can like focus in and like binocular vision, almost like binocular vision, I guess, on the, like if they're looking straight forward, but they can see movement like a panoramic view, and they can see movement. So the deer, if you're standing still and they're over here kind of doing this, looking at you, looking your way, they're trying to see if they see you moving any, to see what you are. So the deer's eyes, like I said, they can see the UV, but they can see, it helps them to see in the really low light conditions. It helps them to see any predators or any movement from predators. Also, they can see really good when they're running fast. It helps them to see, like when they're running, it helps them to see what they're running at, so they're not running into tree branches or anything like that and hurting their eyes. I've actually seen a 6-point buck run and jump right in between barbed wire fences. He jumped right in between the wires, went right through them and never touched the wire. They can see that as they're running up to it at high speeds, and they'll see it. And also when deer are spooked and they're running like that, they'll get down real low. The bucks will get down real low and have their head low so you can't even see their antlers. And they can run right by a hunter, and he won't even see the antlers on the deer until the deer's going on past and it's too late to shoot at it. So just some of the things like that. The crows can see the UV light, so that helps them to spot. That'll help them to spot us, and they'll do their calls and give away the positions of us or a predator. So you'll see there's a lot of things like that I wanted to mention, like the wolves and coyotes and dogs. They can see the UV light. So a lot of the animals out there can see the UV light. They have the blue cones in their eyes where they can see that. The owls, the military made the night vision goggles after the owl's eyesight. After studying the owl's eyesight, they made their night vision goggles based on that. The infrared for the game cameras based on that. I've actually caught in one of mine, it was taking photos, and every time the IR light would come on to take a photo, I kept catching this owl laying in a tree right in front of my camera, and then you see him go down on the ground and getting something. He'd go back up in the tree. You'd see him go down on the ground and get something. He was using the IR light from my game camera. When my IR light came on, it was helping him to see the insects or whatever's on the ground, and he was getting the lizards or whatever he was swooping down there and getting. It was helping him to hunt. Alright, so behind me here you can see I got my board set up for my background. I was trying to sit outside this evening and film this, but there was too much noise outside. There was too much neighborhood noise. And then right before dark I was going to try to sit out there and do it, since I was talking about the deer being able to see so good right at dark. But it was raining. It started raining, so it's raining. It's still raining out there a little bit now. So I figured I'd set these posters I made, where I got all my maps of Green Swamp. These are all the maps of Green Swamp here. And on the other side here I have all my tracking stuff with a step and stride and all that. And since I was talking about the deer eyesight, you can pick these up at any Walmart. All the bait shops should have them, because the bait shops carry the other ones, the freshwater and the saltwater brochures. So the hunting brochure too, they should have them as well. But any of the sporting goods places carry these. Anywhere you can buy a hunting license or buy guns or ammunition, they're going to have these. These are free, so these are free. So I just wanted to show that to you and add that in there too. I've talked about these brochures in my hunting in past videos there, so talking about how to look up the hunting dates and stuff like that. Alright, so I just want to show that to you real quick too. Here's an old buck scrape. Right here above that limb. That's the bucks that do that, because it's getting the rutting season, their mating season. So the bucks will scratch around right there and leave scent, and they'll leave scent on the limbs right there. Then the does come along behind them. So that's the buck doing that. Here's two more. These are a little bit newer. Buck scrape there in the limbs. Buck scrape right here in the limbs. Oh wow, there's a lot. That's pretty fresh here. Then there's two more right here. There's two more right here. These are not very old. There's the deer track right there. They do it right over these limbs, leaving scent. This is pretty fresh. They're still using this. There's deer track right there. A couple of deer tracks. This is fresh. Look at this. This is right here. A bunch of dirt that's been kicked from there. It's been kicked back with their hooves. All back in here. That's pretty fresh. I'll film it from back here too. So you can see all those buck scrapes right there in the ground. Right there under those tree limbs. And you can still see that dirt was kicked out. Alright, so this is going to wrap up this video. Sharpening our tracking skills with Tim T in Florida. Alright, so I'll see y'all next time.